Hello, everyone, and welcome to Session 3 of the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. My name is Randy Henderson, and I am one of the Black Feminist Reading Circle members of this online group. This session runs from January 20th until June 2nd and includes 2 week-long breaks. Our democratically selected reading material is Harriet A. Washington's book, Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present. Our book group meets each Tuesday evening from 6:30 to 8 on the Google Plus Hangouts on Air platform. You may find the Global Black Feminist Reader Circle on Google Plus, YouTube, and Facebook, and always feel free to join us in reading our story together.
Welcome everyone to the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. My name is Michelle Odom. I am located in Brooklyn. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Reading Circle along with Randy Danielle Henderson. You are invited to join the Reading Circle, and you can find information about us on Google Plus, where you can join our community page, or YouTube, where you can find our archived videos, and we also have a page on Facebook. We are in session 3, meaning this is the 3rd book that the group is reading. Reading Harriet A. Washington's Medical Apartheid, A Dark History of Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present. And tonight we're focused on Chapter 9, Nuclear Winter, Radiation Experiments on Black Americans.
Hey, my name is Georgette Moses, and I'm participating in the warm spot of Columbia, South Carolina.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anita Walker, and I'm joining you from Cromwell, Connecticut. Welcome.
Yes, I'm Joel Jones, coming from Charleston, North Charleston, South Carolina.
Hi, my name is Edwina, and I'm glad to see everyone. I'm here in Utah.
Hi, my name is Randy, and I'm watching from Atlanta, and I'm moderating tonight.
Chapter 9, Nuclear Winter, Radiation Experiments on African Americans. In this chapter, we learn of the many ways the government, physicians, scientists, and those in power tricked, cajoled, found loopholes, lied, and experimented on Black people, poor people, and sick people. Harriet Washington provides information on the racism embedded in these experiments and how lack of education and integrity from the government aided in the detriment of the people exposed to plutonium, X-rays, skin lightening products, and radiation. You know what? Let's have Joelle read point number E. Is that all right, Randy?
Any doctor who wished to embrace the newest fad in medicine could advertise his radium or X-ray treatments, and most of the doctors who did so treated patients in private clinics, rather recklessly by our standards. They were initially unaware of and later insubstantially concerned by the dangers of repeatedly bombarding patients with high radiation doses. Patients were even given bits of radium in a glass tube to carry about with them so they could treat their own skin blemishes or superficial cancers. Physicians soon ventured beyond medical therapy to explore possible cosmetic uses. And as early as 1900s, doctors touted radiation to blacks as an escape into whiteness. Harriet states in her book that in 1904, the New York Telegraph published a piece titled all coons to look white. Um, College professors have schemed to solve race problems. How do you feel about white people blaming the race problem on blackness? Do you think if the experiment would have been successful, the race problem would have been solved?
Do you want me to go ahead and read E2, Randy?
Uh-huh.
So question E2 is, in chapter 9, Harriet states of the experiment, by every account, black experimental subjects were not only willing, but eager. Most journalists assumed that subjects were actuated by a belief that blackness was inferior, not by practical concerns such as escaping racism. Do you understand why black people who were a part of the experiment were eager to escape blackness? And would you have made the same decision, why or why not?
Okay, so to answer question E1, I know I've talked to y'all about this book before in our past books, but I did my senior thesis on George Schuyler's Black No More, and so in the book, all the this black doctor comes up with this black experiment, this experiment, and it turns all black people white, including their hair, and it's extremely painful, but it only lasts for about like an hour or so, and it completely makes the person white. Now their offspring still comes out as black, but it makes them white. And this was supposed to solve the race problem in the book, but people realized that businesses were going out of business because black people weren't getting their hair done, weren't getting their hair permed. Black people weren't buying skin lightening creams. It was actually affecting the economy to not be black, and it was just a really big deal. And so it didn't erase the race problem like it should have. And so I believe that it would not have solved the race problem, mainly because the race problem isn't due to blackness. It's due to white supremacist ideology and thought, and they have to fix themselves first. But ultimately, when they came out with this radium whiteness thing that Harriet was talking about, I don't think it would have solved the problem even if it had been successful.
I agree. It didn't really solve it in uh, during World War II because you had Jews that looked German. They just simply, what people do, they have a tendency to just change the game. I mean, they change the rule of the games. The games stay the same. Say when Nazi Germany, you had to go back to, the grandparents. If you had, one of three, you know, if so many grandparents were Jews, then you was considered a Jew. I mean, going back to your grandparents, not your parents. So they would have found another reason, in my opinion, to like Randy said, to exploit their hatred.
Anybody else before Michelle does her question?
Yeah, well, I agree. I don't think it would solve the problem. I guess I would say, if there were no black people on Earth, there still would be man's inhumanity to man. So, we've got to really get down to the root of it before we're able to solve it.
But and go back to one other thing. When you talk, I had the pleasure to talk to this Caucasian guy in a shopping area. He was about 80-something years old, and he was telling me about him being used in Area 51 uh, doing doing the testing of
The atomic bomb.
of the atomic bomb, and I saw all the lesions that was over him, and he had. I mean, it was crazy. He was the last person in this unit, and he was from an all-white unit. So hey, these people, they didn't care. You know what I mean? They wanted to experiment on people. They experimented on people. They did the military like that, and it's still doing them like that. The latest probably is anthrax, but
Yeah, absolutely.
Michelle, you want to take your question?
Okay. We were laughing because you know us so well, Randy. The way you was like, did you see Vanita performing talking about MK's?
No, and I really wanted to hear it. The internet went out. I was in the office just sitting in silence. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Oh.
I would like to hear what Vanita had to say.
Well,
After you do your question, I would.
So Randy, so you didn't see not one question that you think that a man would be able to answer correctly?
No. I did see a question that I wanted you on, but I didn't think that you would be here because you haven't been able to be here so often, or your internet goes out. So I just made it for who I thought would actually be here, so I could get it to Michelle on time. I should have put or Joel if he's here, but I didn't. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Do you accept the apology, Joel?
That wasn't an apology. That was a statement. That was about it. That was about as apologetic as that man that did in Tulsa. Oh, I shot him with
I'm sorry, Joel.
I shot him. I'm sorry. And then the brother said, "I can't breathe." He said, "F you."
Oh.
That was so unfair.
Let me answer my question. Most journalists assume yada yada. Do you understand why Black people who were a part of the experiment were eager to escape Blackness? Would you have made the same decision? Oh, it's so hard to know what you would do in different circumstances. Vanita and I always say if we had been born during slavery, we'd have done everything we could to escape, or we would have killed ourselves. Well, we probably would have, knowing us, but there's a chance that we'd have been right there picking that cotton. Cozy enough to master.
Okay, that was a good one.
Y'all both fair skinned. Y'all probably been wenches inside the house somewhere.
Well, we know our grandmother's great
But yeah, I can see
were.
I can see Nita right now. Whatever, master, it's just too damn hot out there. Ain't picking no cotton.
Because we want to get the pretty dresses.
I can't go outside. I'm gonna look because I can't do this one. I mean, died out there. Oh no. Well, I'll stay right here with the rest of the house, the indentured servants.
Little extra food.
Yeah.
Little trip to the liquor cabinet.
Spitting this coffee early in the morning. I know.
I hate to be the one to say what I would or would not do, but I like to believe that if I had lived in this era of early 1900s, that I would not have been, willing to risk my life to escape Blackness. And do I understand why some people were eager to do it? Sure, I do. Like I understand people today are eager to do it. It's not easy being black in a world of white supremacy. But as you said, Randy, a week or two ago, that you have come to understand that you feel free, that you realize no matter what we do, it's not going to change, the essential way that white people see us. And so I believe, if there's such a thing as reincarnation, I'm always very protective of my spirit. So if this spirit has gone through the ages, then it would have been a spirit that would have said, no, I'm not going to, I mean, people were dying, but, there were all kinds of other consequences. To try to explain, to try to escape Blackness. But I also think there's a comparison here to be made to straightening our hair.
I was wondering.
Because before I knew better, when I was a teenager, and I used to perm, it did take out my hair, and I did have some little burns on my ears and around here and whatnot. So, but I got enough of it when I was a teenager, because I think that is really dangerous stuff, and women don't really know. We don't really know what we're doing to ourselves when we do that. But even as a teenager, I would not say I consciously felt that it was trying to escape Blackness. And I think, even today, as women perm their hair, they're not consciously trying to escape Blackness. Did you say my time was up?
You got 26 seconds, honey.
But I think that we influence each other in such a way that we start doing things before we're even thinking about them, before we're even conscious of them. Like Vanita, I want you to maybe say a word about what you were saying about being at the club in Philadelphia, and and how people were looking at you, and then that would finish my point.
Well, I went to Philadelphia to hang out with my cousins, because that's where I'm originally from, and I stopped by to see my husband's sister, and she warned me before we went out to this club type restaurant that if you didn't have the French weave, whatever that is, and you didn't have the nails and the this and that, then we were going to look, people are staring at us like aliens. And sure enough, this is an all black place. We went in there and sat down at the little bar area, had something to eat, and the women was actually looking at us like we had 4 heads. Everybody was walking around with the weaves on, and I think there's this French thing that you put on that looks like a hairline. They had the Beyonce look, the long nails with all the makeup, and most of them was the hair and the nail thing, and they actually looked at us like we had 2 heads. And we were looking like natural women. And this is the all-black establishment.
Yeah.
Along with, we didn't have on the tight dress with the booty up. and the rest of the stuff that was in, you know, the low cut, whatever. And this is in the daytime too. I want you to know that. Then we talking about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We're not talking about 12 o'clock at night.
That's
So,
simply disgusting. Low cut dresses and booty hanging out, that's disgusting.
Oh.
What about the bleaching creams?
well,
The cosmetics counter. That I remember as in my adolescent days, that was the first thing I was reaching for, and the perm kit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, Edwina. You know, it's funny that I'm not trying to cut you off, but it's funny you mentioned that because I wasn't really aware of that. I am now, of course, for quite a few years. When we were growing up, you only had like one Jamaican in the United States. We had, you know, one Latino. No, seriously, it was just that few people that you never like saw these people. And the ones I remember was one named Miss Deborah, and her husband's name was Neville. And when I kind of think of, and back in retrospect, her face was a lot lighter than her dark body. But you know, you're young. You don't. I mean, I didn't know. You know, you just never think about a bleaching cream. I had never heard of it. You know, I have dark cousins.
Face cream for blemishes, and I remember even some of my aunties having that as a cosmetic product on their shelf, you know, in their bathrooms. And I'm, you know, asking, what is this for? It was to bleach their skin, you know, and they said we were bleaching away blemishes and spots, you know, and some of their faces were lighter than the rest of the body.
Were they trying to escape blackness?
I think that's a form of escapism or even feeling inferior, inferiority complex, and then you want to go and get your your hair. If you didn't get your hair pressed, okay. In my day and time, I was born, you know, around that era when you got your hair pressed. Then came the perm kits.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and like you said, you know, I used the perm kit, and you know, my hair started falling out. I burnt my scalp, and my hair started falling out. So I never did that again. Went back to the straightening comb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like it's a part. It's even a part of our cosmetic, you know, makeup, chemistry in our makeup and in our chemistry. You know, and when you go into that little weave store on the counter where they have the perms on the counter and all the other Afro products, even for locking, they're going to find the fade cream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.